It's now 1445 until 1555. I mean 1545. Yeah, your time starts now.
Even earlier than that, Chairperson. Greetings. Let me observe the protocol that was observed by you, Chairperson. Going straight to you, Deputy Minister. Having an interest on the meeting, the Portfolio Committee meeting of the 5th of March. I know when we were interacting with the Senior Council, you said some of the issues that were discussed on that day, some of them maybe you don't remember them. But I've got this question. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee is here on the Ad-hoc. I just want to check, because the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, in his questioning, he mentioned that SAPS was not clear and direct to what were the real issues regarding the disbandment of the PKTT and the implications that followed. So do you believe the presentation that was made by yourselves to that Portfolio Committee meeting, they were clear, especially with regard to the disbandment of the PKTT? That's the question.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. The presentation that was done on the 5th was a presentation that was briefing the committee on the matters relating to division crime intelligence, the challenges, issues of instability within the division, issues of misinformation and fake news, unproven allegations, and progress on disciplinary cases against senior officers, on progress on the funding and expenditure of crime intelligence, budget arrangements, and the allocation thereof, and the cost drivers and additional support that is necessary in the space, recruitment, vacancies, filling of vacancies, and human resource capacity posts. Those were the issues that we're briefing the committee on. And this was generally about the work there, which also included the political killings task team. That was the briefing.
Okay, thank you. So nothing was said, even by the minister himself, to say that I intend. Nothing raised like that in that Portfolio Committee. I take it like that because even yourself, you didn't raise it in your statement. Then, with reference to paragraph 54, it reflects on the discussions that you held with regard to General Khumalo being the head of the crime intelligence, as well as the head of the PKTT, whereby you had held discussions and you were not happy because you also needed to restructure and strengthen the crime intelligence, and yet its head had many roles he played. For instance, it reflected on paragraph 54 and paragraph 55, whereby you held discussion to say that you are removing him on his role be heading the PKTT so that he must focus on the crime intelligence. But you are not removing the crime intelligence part or role that can be played by another person, not being the same person, General Kumalo, heading it. So that's in paragraph 55. Then I just want to check, did this discussion that ensued include the decision to disband the PKTT?
Yeah, so when we're briefing the portfolio committee, we briefed the portfolio committee on where we come from with the political killings task team and where we are going with the task team, given the decision and the directive that was written there. And in the submission, we said that it will be a transitional process. That is what the presentation was saying. And the issue of General Kumalo being allowed to focus on crime intelligence away from the PKTT, it was in the midst of that discussion. I've included it in my submission because I did raise it in the meeting when we were discussing, not before the committee. That it makes sense. I think if we want to strengthen crime intelligence, I think let's allow General Kumalo to focus on this task, because the success in our ability to strengthen crime intelligence will then have spin-offs on policing, on crime fighting, on a number of things that we will be doing as an institution, and will then get another general to lead that. Because when Kumalo was appointed head of the PKTT, he was a major general. And I think if you still maintain that level of deployment, it will still serve the purpose of what the team was doing. And I think the National Commissioner, in his presentation, he did indicate that he is talking of a phased approach in this regard. And this is the presentation that we made to the committee, that we believe the manner of handling this, if we can have a phased-in approach, it will assist a great deal.
Okay. Then with reference to paragraph 57, in those discussions that you held prior the directive of the 31st December, in that directive, it includes the decision to halt the filling of vacancies within SAPS. Then, were they discussed? Did you discuss also the minister? Did he discuss the halting of filling of vacancies in those discussions you held? Because it was also included in that directive.
Well, I can't recall that in particular, but I know that
Not particularly in the portfolio committee, in your meetings that you held before the directive that was issued.
yes, I'm saying the directive that that says you must freeze the appointments. When we were discussing the PTT, I don't recall that discussion. But the other directive which we have not spoken to of the ports of entries, we have had a presentation on that one in at the college.
Okay. In your understanding and being there in the Department of Subs, who has the authority to decide on the decision with regard to issues of employment in subs? Who has that?
Well,
Having the minister and the national commission.
we do play a role in this regard. For instance, when a national commissioner gets appointed, a panel was set in, and the Minister of Police was in that panel. Of course, once that has been done,
That the senior positions not.
yes,
Then the lower position.
those ones will just be briefed that this has been so and so is acting. Is appointed for this position. I don't remember participating in the panel that decided who becomes the deputy national commissioner, for instance. We're just briefed that so and so is appointed national commissioner. Not acting deputy national commissioner, or so and so is appointed divisional commissioner. We get briefed. We have never participated in those.
Then looking at the directive, because that directive didn't talk about disbandment of the PKTT only. It also talked about halting in filling of vacancies within subs. And if we are going to look at that, and it is the letter written by, it's a directive, in fact, from the minister, can you say that it was correct? Because, for instance, before you came here to that table where you are sitting, a former minister, Cassel, was here, said it doesn't have to do anything of employment.
He was correct, yeah.
He was correct.
When he said that.
Then when you are having a directive of saying that don't fill up the post, it means that there was an interference.
Look, well, the minister
in the work of the national commissioner.
The minister can communicate that I need to discuss with you these issues that I have picked up, which I think need to be looked at by yourself around this. But once you say don't do it in the manner in which that note was crafted, that becomes a problem.
So the minister cannot take that decision on his own.
Yeah.
He must wait for the National Commission.
Not necessarily to wait for the National Commissioner. There must be an engagement between the minister and the National Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Then Deputy Minister, you don't know, in paragraph 57, you also say that you don't know what informed the minister's decision to issue that directive of December, 31st December, 2024. Did the minister ever, when maybe he was briefing you with other issues or anything, did he ever raise concerns about the PKTT or the complaints he received about its irregular constitution?
I can't say the PKTT was irregularly constituted because it was not.
Before the directive it was issued.
Before and after, the PKTT even now is not irregularly constituted. It was constituted in a proper manner. When I say I, however, do not know what informed the minister's decision to issue the directives in December. I don't know what was going through his mind when he wrote that letter. He, of course, in his explanation, he says he was seated at home and he wrote that directive.
Why I'm raising this? It is because the minister had concern of the PKTT that was established for a long time, and its mandate was being renewed, and it was incurring budgetary constraint at some point because of its extension. So regarded that as an irregular expenditure. Then based on your experience and understanding, would you agree with such a proposition that says, indeed, if you are extending the task team time and again, it become or it incurred an irregular expenditure?
No, the political killings task team never incurred irregular expenditure that I know of. If it did, I'm not aware of such a thing. There was no time frame that the PKTT is going to exist from January to December. It was established to deal with a specific problem. And for as long as the problem it has not been completely resolved, that is the cases that came out of it, you can't do away with that task. And for you to then to effectively deal with that, that's why we spoke of a phased-in approach, wherein you create the capacity to deal with that. Mind you, in I think October, November, somewhere there, we were engaged in the organizational structure of SAPS, where we made proposals that ended up being accepted by management and ultimately by labor and signed off by the National Commissioner after the SSSB forum, where negotiations between SAPS and organized labor take place on changes that gets effected with regard to the organizational structure of the South African police. So that signing off then created a platform wherein we need to capacitate appropriately our murder and robbery unit that will be able to take over all murder-related cases in the Republic. And the PKTT was the work that it was doing ultimately was going to be infused into that institution. But because you have just approved it and you are going to deal with capacitating that institution, until you finish that process, there will be coexistence of two. Your PKTT will continue to exist, and as you face it into the murder and robbery unit, it will be a process that will happen over time. It might take you six months, it might take you 12 months. It will depend on how fast that process unfolds. And between now and that time that it gets integrated, it will obviously incur expenses, but those expenses will not become irregular. They are within the law, and if the Auditor General then come to establish that no, this thing is irregular, he will do so and express an opinion. But I don't think the accounting officer will allow a situation where finances of the institutions are spent irregularly. That's why I'm saying there's no expenditure which was irregular that was incurred by the PKTT.
But there were increasing costs that were there in financing their operations, that is the PKTT. In fact, if there were, did you ever discuss that in your meetings that you held prior to the directive?
Well, any task team that you form, it will increase your expenses because you are creating something that is not there. And you are going to take personnel from other provinces to go and work. In this case, you are taking people from other parts of the country to go and work in KZN. They don't stay there. So when they arrive there, you must deal with their needs, both accommodation and transfer costs and all those things, a cost that you didn't have before you took that decision. So it's logical that your expenses will increase in this regard. But I don't think that should be what guides us. What guides us is the problem at hand that we want to deal with. And if we are going to incur cost in dealing with that problem, so be it. And I think that's what happened. I'm not saying we don't care about the expenses of the state. We care a lot. And we want to use them sparingly. But where circumstances pushes us, like in this case, where you had an outcry, you had a commission set up to look at the matters that were taking place in KZN, we had to finance a response to that phenomena. And that's why we ended up having these expenses that we incurred.
Okay. You mentioned that consultation would have been good as a matter of courtesy. You were not consulted whatsoever. Given your comment on courtesy, how would you categorize the minister's directive? Would you say that the minister acted in good faith? I know when you were interacting with the senior counsel, you said that it was problematic where the minister, you don't know what went on in the mind of the minister to issue such a directive. Then now I want, how would you categorize the minister's directive given on the 31st December?
Well, the 31st December is the 31st December, Honorable. It's New Year's Eve. And, well, personally, that day I observe the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. How do I categorize that? It's unusual. I think it's that's why I say it's very difficult to comprehend what was going through his mind as he was penning out that letter.
Is there any other directive that the minister had ever given to the department apart from this one of the PKTT that had an immediate flavor in it?
Not to my knowledge, but there have been interaction between the minister and the national commissioner. Some of the interactions did not include us, and they were able to communicate, and things got done. It might be in other instances it delayed here and there, but they ended up being done. This, I think, was I think it's the only communique that I know of that came and brought us here.
You mentioned that the interface between the executive oversight and the operational autonomy is constitutionally delicate. Can you expand, highlighting the delicacy of the interaction, and where do we draw the line?
Yeah, the executive authority is the political head of the institution, and the accounting officer is the administrative head of the institution. The two have authority or power. Let me say the two have power. But in the exercise of their power, they must take into consideration each other's existence and interface in such a manner that they complement each other's work. I know it's a very difficult environment within government, both national, provincial, and local our municipalities, where the interface tend to be sometimes a bit difficult for the incumbent to manage. But in the main, the relationship between the two is dialectical in the sense that the political authority, the executive authority, needs the accounting officer and vice versa. They must complement each other. If they work together well, you won't be here. But if there's a misstep on the two, you will come here quite often.
And consult each other.
Absolutely.
Lastly, Deputy Minister, in paragraph 17, you are saying that the current minister didn't give you any delegated responsibility, both of you as deputy ministers. You are there in the office, and you are saying that you have said the minister is still familiarizing himself with the office. Can you say that the minister didn't familiarize himself with the issues of PKTT because an immediate directive was given? But now you are still waiting patiently.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Yes, we don't have delegated powers signed off that this is what you do, this is what you are doing. But we had work to do, and we were not like sitting in the office not knowing what to do. I have a program that says this is what we are going to do, and today I have a program that says I'm here. In fact, since yesterday and today and tomorrow, if the committee will still require me to be here. If not, we will work out a program of what to do tomorrow when we rise from here. Yes, I don't have any other better explanation, really, that the minister did not give us delegated authority up to now, except that that which I said, that I believe he was still familiarizing himself. But I think from where we are now, from the beginning up to now, I think he's ready to do that. Because, you know, even by the time the directive came out, I think we were almost at the tail end, even though the organogram was not yet signed off. As I said, I think it was signed off around May of SAPS. But I think it will be fair for me to sit here, Chair, and say that the minister is ready. If you know, it happens that this process is concluded tomorrow and they say everybody go to work, we should be able to have delegations. Yeah.
Okay. You know what, Minister? I'm just finishing.
You
You
show,
know what, Minister?
Honorable Sokanyile, you show respect to others by respecting time allocated to you. That's how you show respect. That's how you show respect to others.
No, it's just a comment to assure the Deputy Minister that this ad-hoc committee will issue a directive with immediate effect that these deputy ministers are given, are delegated their responsibilities. It will be this ad hoc committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Pass the microphone.